Well, good early morning, everyone. I wanted to come on and I wanted to do this live. And I am not the kind of person that wants to actually put my business on YouTube, but it got to a point where uh, the harassment, civil rights, 1983 civil rights violations, tracking device put on my car, tracking device was taken off by a company. Uh, it's just been a lot, and it's all because of the simple fact that I filed charges on a man with the Tulsa Police Department, and this has went on. This has been going on from 2006 to 2026. When I filed charges on him in 2018, uh, my life became a living hell. All of his friends, a past friend of mine that was on the department, Sharon Denise Jones. We used to be really good friends, and I had to file protective orders. And the attorneys would talk to us. I would drop them, thinking it just continues and continues and on. The calling of agencies on me, the harassment, because they want to silence me. They don't want people to know actually what was happening to me. This is not a Department of Social Services matter. It's not a mental health matter. It is a police matter. And this type of stalking and criminal harassment, going through medical records, which I'm going to upload. I had someone hit my medical records, and when they hit my medical records, what happened at that point, they were using my identification, my cards in a hospital. This has went on for so long. I get no help from the Tulsa Police Department. I reached out to Internal Affairs, B. Smith. I sent things over to Internal Affairs about what was going on. These officers, it's the evening shift that comes on with the Tulsa Police Department that I get the harassment from a black lady and this black guy. When I filed this stuff, police reports, continuous police reports, uh, nothing was ever done. They put them as inactive. So there are definitely 1983, my civil rights have been violated, and I am not going to sit back and allow someone to do this to me. And so if you want to share this and spread it all over YouTube, that's fine with me. This shouldn't be like this. Calling agencies on people when they're fine, when they're not doing anything, stealing money from bank accounts. My bank accounts were hit on numerous occasions. My bank account was hit for money. The fraud division was able to stop that transaction. After that, then the hospital accessing my medical record. This individual that is a that's related to the Jones, Johnson, and Johnston family and Jameson family. They went in my records and they had changed stuff in the records. It's just been one mess. Identity stolen and crimes committed in my name that I didn't even commit. This has gone and on and on. Even an inheritance that was due my children was taken from me. And then all of a sudden, Sharon Denise Jones, I think she was put in a position by the Tulsa Police Department because so many reports was filed on her with Internal Affairs that at that point they gave her an option of either quitting, resigning, or getting fired. And at that point, she's no longer with the police department. But what she did was she became a paralegal. And at that point, the harassment through her friends and her continued, trying to figure out how she could get money from me. And it's just been an ongoing thing. And her daughter is Jamaica Dargis, and I've had harassment from her. She's a paralegal professional, and she's with the National Association of Legal Assistants, NALA, and Tulsa Area Paralegal Association, the NYLER Association. And this has went on and on and on and on. And I am not the kind of person that's going to sit back and allow this to happen. I am very honest. I'm very straight up about things that have happened. And then it went from that to calling copes on me for a solid 2 weeks. Anything that would try to hurt me. I've moved 5 times. Not only have I moved 5 times, each time they came into the complex, told lies. I've lost 5 jobs. This harassment has continued on and on and on and on. I had contacted Mr. Jones when he was with the Adult Protective Services, and he finally retired. He said, Carrie, nothing's wrong with you. He said, they can't do this to you. And he said, this is a police matter. And so he referred me back over to the police department, which I'd made numerous police reports. I just contacted B. Smith with Internal Affairs with the Tulsa Police Department on Friday, sending him things over. When I called the detective division, they said that Demita Connard was the detective that was investigating this, and Internal Affairs said there is no way that Demita could be investigating this. And he asked me for her information if I had. I gave him her number, and so he knew I wasn't telling a lie. And reports have been squashed, and it's a group of people. 2 of them work for the Department of Social Services. Well, as a matter of fact, 3 of them do. 2 of them work for mental health. 2 work for the Department of Social Service, and it's quite a few that works for the Tulsa Police Department. I recently got a job in February with the Department of Social Services, and I got a Specialist 3 position, and it paid good money. I mean, I'm telling you, good money. I went in for training. The minute my foot entered the building, the person that worked there that I had the problems with, which I had dated this man, and she's now going with him, and she started rumors all through the place, and you could hear people whispering, oh, she's crazy. She's crazy. From the moment she came in the door, they told us that she was crazy. First one at work every morning, was never late, sit there, paid attention, took notes, did my modules, kept up. And the crazy part about it, when I worked for the Department of Social Services, for some reason, my computer would never connect to anything. And so I went a whole week without even being connected and able to get into the other apps like other individuals. And so this went on to the point where the woman that worked for the Department of Social Services that was dating the man that I used to date had went up and told a whole bunch of lies. And at that point, the lady called me in the office and she said, we'll give you 2 options. You can either voluntarily quit or we fire you. So I went ahead and I signed it, and I walked out with my dignity. This is the 5th job. I got a job with as a director of education. They did the same thing. They came on the property. They harassed me. And I contacted my boss and I said, look, I've tried to get a protective order, couldn't get a protective order. So at this point, what do I do? And she told me, she said, Carrie, go ahead, make a police report, and then give me the report number and I'll contact HR, and we'll see if we can't ban them from the grounds where you work. At that point, I did exactly what my boss told me to do. They were calling her from numbers in Charlotte, North Carolina, which I'm going to upload to so that you guys can see it. And they were telling her all kind of stuff. She said this has nothing to do with Carrie's job. She's doing a wonderful job. I had 5 teachers under me. The harassment continued, and so finally she got back with me. And when she found out that they were police officers, she told me, she said, and the tracking device was put on my car, and threats, things of that nature. They said, Carrie, you haven't done anything wrong, but because you're around other teachers, some of the other directors are concerned because their kids are in your program, and other teachers, that we're going to have to let you go. And so this has continued from job to job to job. This harassment has went on from 2006 to 2026. And if you go back, you guys can go to OSCN and you can Google it. And you can Google my name in OSCN. You can go under just Carrie Hall. And for Tulsa, and you'll see Carrie Hall versus Sharon Denise Jones. She first took a protective order out on a lady that stayed with me. Her name was Barbara Williams. And Barbara had found her personal identification in her car, personal items of hers in her car, like her license and other things. At that time, Barbara and I would be together. We'd come back out and our car would be moved. We couldn't find our car. And the car was being moved to Walmart, to the smoke shop. And we're riding around with security trying to find the car. And security could see the car at one point on there. And then the car takes off and somebody drives it somewhere. So when Barbara took a protective order out on her first. And so when she took the protective order out on her, at that point, Sharon, immediately being a police officer, had to surrender her gun. So her gun was taken from her. She went into a Tasmanian devil fit. And when she went into that fit, she winded up, just, you talking about, she came after me. And she's wedged me in the middle of this mess and took a protective order out on me instead of Barbara. And so Barbara, when she found the stuff in the car, Sharon had one count against her for violation of a protective order. And one of her officer friends wrote it up because they found evidence in the car that she had been moving this car. Well, it went on from that, and it just got worse. I hired a lawyer for Barbara and I both. I hired Mr. Jameson, and she had a very, very sweet attorney named Mr. Alan Smallwood here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Mr. Smallwood walked over to me and he said, "Are you Carrie?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "My name is Alan Smallwood." He said, "I've been a lawyer, criminal lawyer here in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 30 something years." And he said, "I know a criminal when I see one." He said, "This is a case of jealousy." And he said, "But she's going to lose her job." I said, "Well, I'm a Christian. By no means do I want her to lose her job." He said, "If you can get Barbara to drop this protective order against her, then, I'll make sure that she drops this against you." And so I talked to Barbara, and Barbara did not want to drop it. She said, "She's going to come back and cut your throat." She was so mad at me because, she had done this to her, had moved her car in the whole 9 yards, was just messing with us. Every time my car would go on the street, anybody can research it, I was getting ticket after ticket after ticket. And this continued over and over and over till the harassment was so bad. And so every job that I got, whether it was a quality control inspector or whatever it was, she was on my job telling them stuff, came to my college with stuff. And this went on and on and on and on and on. She has a real estate license. She's a realtor also here in Tulsa. And every time I try to get a lawyer to help me or someone to help me, nobody would help me with this because I wanted to file a 1983 civil rights violation. This has went on forever and a day. And now the new narrative is she's crazy. We're going to put her in a nut house permanently for the rest of her life, which is not going to happen because I'm not crazy. I can't make up this stuff. I can't make up the abuse that was done to me by this man, which I'm going to upload pictures of the abuse. And this has went on and on and on. And I'm the kind of person, I'm just not the kind of person that's going to sit back and allow you to continue to abuse me mentally, physically, psychologically, or anything else. It's not a DHS matter. DHS, if I work for DHS and I know the rules, you have to be in a position where you're not able to take care of yourself, or you have to be in some type of mental crisis, which I'm not. I am uploading facts. I am uploading truth. And for her to pull these people to pull DHS into this, and this dark skinned woman that works for DHS, she should be fired. This is one of the ones that ran me down. This is one of the ones that has just wrecked my life. And I would have still been at DHS, but she kept this going. And I tried to tell my supervisor, and she absolutely just would not listen to me. And I didn't have the opportunity to show her all of the evidence and things that I have. But I'm getting ready to constantly upload different evidence that I had against them, being ran down in the street, stalked, harassed, in the whole 9 yards. Now, why should I have to be moved out of my home of Oklahoma when, number one, what needs to take place is them prosecuted? All of my reports were placed inactive. No detective would look at them at all. And I filed so many police reports, it's unreal. I filed so many different reports on her with internal affairs. They came all the way to Raytown, Missouri when I graduated in my master's program. Our director had to put them out of the actual graduation. That's how bad it got. And not only that, when I went to North Carolina, it was the 4th of July for a family reunion. I was stalked by this family and Eddie Jameson all the way down to North Carolina, across the state line. I have video footage of them going in the motel, video footage of one of them that was coming at me. She had her car, had rented a car. I'm going up the Greenville Highway to take Greg Robinson to the camp that he was working at in Brevard, North Carolina. And she gets in my lane and hits the gas and has the car coming at me full force, and then jerks the steering wheel right before she hits my car. This has been going on for a very long time. And I'm not the kind that's going to sit back and allow you to do this to me. I'm going to upload this so the world can see it. I've sit down and I have actually took and been very, very kind. Very, very, very kind. I had took and prayed. I had took and fast. And this behavior continues. I just don't understand. I do understand. I take that back. It's like a brotherhood. It's just like when you have, if you have something against the officer, in which Eddie Jameson is in law enforcement also. And then there's this guy that got kicked off the police department that was using cocaine. And he has what I call the gangster patrol. And this stuff has just got to a point where it is just crazy. And then I had this younger woman running behind me, and she was saying that she was I was her baby's grandma. Now, I don't know if she wasn't referring to my son Tommy, because my son Tommy, I asked him, he doesn't have any kids by her. So I'm beginning to think at this point she was referring to my grandson Emmanuel, which would have made me a great grandmother. She was stalking and harassing me. Then there was money due us, my children, from when my husband passed away many years ago. They somehow got that money. Kenya Smith Hackett and them, they got that money, and it's just been a car that I uploaded, and I have many more because I have a dash cam, and I don't know how to get it off the dash cam to upload it. But this harassment, this type of behavior, and the reason why they do it, they know that they have immunity. And when somebody has immunity like that, they know that they can do whatever they want to do and get by with it. I am tired of being quiet. And I think at some point, even Jesus would want us to stand up for ourselves, and for me to be able to upload this stuff so that everybody can see this. By no means am I crazy. By no means am I out of my mind. I'm just a person that's standing up for what's right. You did this stuff, and you shouldn't have immunity. Every last one of them should be lose their immunity, where they can be prosecuted and have their pension taken from them, where they can be sued. And she feels like, I'm the queen bee. You can't have anything. It was like a competition. Oh yeah, and I wanted to tell you guys this. I even went to Caldwell Banker Real Estate School, and I'm going to upload that. I passed my test. It was 200 questions on this test. I made 90 something. I missed 12 questions out of 200. And I got I finished the real estate school, and took and paid my fees and stuff to get my real estate license. Somehow Sharon had something to do with that. I kept calling them and calling them and calling them. I couldn't get a return call back from them. And 3 years later, they told me to go take my test. They sent me a thing to take my test, saying somehow my stuff got lost for 3 years. I don't believe that. I really don't. With her being a detective, even when I got sodomized, she was over special victims, and she killed that case. And it was case after case after case that she killed, anything that I would file with the police department. And this has went on for a very long time. And to get agencies involved in this, like DHS can't do a thing with me, for the simple fact they would have to have a reason to remove me, or a reason if I wasn't taking care of myself, if I wasn't keeping myself, my house clean. And now, as when I worked for DHS and I went into homes, and I had this white gentleman with me, and I was tripping over stuff falling almost. And when I went to a home, and it wasn't even safe for a child to be there. It was the kitchen was tore up, the dining room, the living room was a mess. It was dog hair everywhere, dog poop all over the place. And he said it was fine. They had sit back here and do this to me, start all kind of lies in the neighborhood. I'm going to send a shot of where the house is in the neighborhood that I'm having the problem out of. And it's not the lady that lives there, it's her relatives, the same ones. This young woman is over a hospice program, and they work with people with senior citizens, I do believe. But this went on and on and on and on and on, and it gets sickening. There is no way I can make this up. Her paint was on the back of my car, and the police department did nothing. The car that you seen behind me, when I was driving, when was filming this to get a video of her behind me, they were actually at one point bumped the back of my car, and this has went on and on and on. And they think that they're untouchable. that they can file a paper and say you're crazy. No, you're not crazy. I'm not crazy at all. And I didn't make up any of this. And I'm going to send pictures of the bruises on. I'm going to upload stuff so you guys can see the hell that I've been through. And to sit back and have to go through this and then protect somebody and them constantly bothering you. And it just doesn't make any sense. I'm the type of person, if you date someone and something is over with and that relationship is ended, you go on, you move on, you wish them the best. For some reason, this person has not been able to move on. It's a thing of retaliation, and anybody around him could see that he's not mentally stable. And so this is what I've had to deal with. I'm not moving anymore. I'm standing my ground. I refuse to move anymore. Uh, and talking about picking someone up, making up, falsifying documents. You can see where my identity was stolen, committing crimes in my name, just doing whatever they chose to do to make me look bad. And Sharon ought to be ashamed of herself. She really should, because she's been behind this whole thing all alone. Her hate for me when she accused me of going with her husband, James, which I never did. And James was the type of guy that he talked so highly of her and he loved her so much. He never cheated on her, he never did anything uh, to her. And we would hear her call him on the phone that she had. It was a walkie talkie phone, and she'd be all nasty with him. And he's sitting here with Barbara, Carrie, and them over here at Carrie's house, just sitting here talking to them. And she would get quiet. But the jealousy is real. The jealousy has been there, and I don't compete with women. Anybody that see me on YouTube will know immediately. That's why I don't have a cash app on there. The gospel of Jesus Christ is free. Love is free. Compassion is free. Uh, encouragement is free. And I'm not about money like she is. And so getting back to my real estate license, when I took it up there to get my real estate license, they told me that it had expired and I had to go take the class again. And so I would have to pay $500 again to take the real estate class. She did not want me to be a realtor because she was a realtor. And it's just been a mess. And so I have all of that paperwork, how I have been treated, the things that I have been called. I got a letter of apology from Family Children Services because this individual kept calling the COPE's hotline, saying all this stuff about me, and I talked to them every time they call. I would talk, and I told them, I said, come out and see me. If you think or you feel that something's wrong, come out and see me. And oh no, we know nothing's wrong. We've talked to you. You're fine, but we're just going to call. So I got tired of it. I'm going to be honest with you. So I called the supervisor and I told the supervisor, and I said, this person that is calling in, and I'm going to upload it so you can see the number that this person was calling from. And it was a North Carolina number. And they were calling from that number. That's the one that called my job. And they were calling COPES. They call, it just got really bad. And I got to the point where I got tired of it. So I kept reaching out to Adult Protective Services. Now, who would call Adult Protective Services on their own self? And I'm asking them, I'm saying, can you help me with this? And they said, it's not a DHS matter. This is not a person that's a guardian over you or anything like this. This is a police matter. I spoke with Russell Jones, which was over District 3. Russell retired. I spoke with Kim Harris, that was over District 3. I've got all the emails from her. She said, Carrie, there's nothing that we can do. And then this young lady started a rumor that I had beat my daughter. None of this is true. None of it is true. My daughter was in the hospital, and my daughter has been in and out of psychiatric institutions for the past year, just continuously over and over and over. She got herself involved with some people that she shouldn't have got herself involved with. It's been a mess. And so when she was in the hospital at one time, and I asked him, I said, why is her wrist cut up? And I'm going to upload the picture of her wrist. Uh, they said that she was in crisis, and the security at St. Francis Tulsa Police Department had to come up, and she was handcuffed, she was beat. And so went to a lawyer here in Tulsa to get a lawyer. And when I went to the lawyer told me, he said, well, I need pictures of these bruises on her body. And I said, well, I'm not going to take pictures of bruises on someone's body without their permission. And they said, Carrie, get her permission. So I got the permission, brought the letter back. She signed it to the lawyer, which the attorney still has the records. And so uh, nothing's done about that. I'm going to upload everything. It has been just an attack, and I think part of this is because I'm a Christian, because I love the Word of God, because I walk up right before God. It's a lot of jealousy. When I wrote my book, they were jealous about that, and it was a thing of going to different people, telling them stuff, going through neighborhoods, going through lies that weren't true. And the whole time they were the abusers. They were the ones, and this guy, and I made up in my mind, you'll never put your hands on me ever again in life. Upload the pictures of where he had abused me. And this is just got to a point where it is totally out of control. And they want me to sit back and be quiet and not open my mouth at all. And I am sorry. Any of you guys that have seen on YouTube or anything that I posted, I am not the kind of woman that will hold my tongue. Internal Affairs, the Tulsa Police Department. This, I'm sorry, cut off there. I'm going back to the I'm going to start over about the COVID. I caught COVID 3 times. And so when I went to Urgy Clinic there. It was actually St. Francis Urgy Clinic. They took a picture of my lung, and they said my lungs, and they said that, well, at least that's what they said at that time. It was a picture of my lungs, and it had 15 nodules on it. Well, come to find out, I said, well, I need a copy of that. So they said, what we'll do is run it off on a disc, and we suggest that you go to a pulmonologist to get have a pulmonologist look at this. And I said, no problem. Went to my primary physician, gave me a referral over to a pulmonologist. And when I went in and I was sitting and talking to her, and she told me, I told her, I said, I worked in ICU, ER for 25 years. That was my specialty before I hurt my knee. And I said, anytime you take a biopsy of someone's lung, immediately they're on a life support. They're on a ventilator. And she looked at me and she said, I just have a gut feeling. I think we should wait. And I know it had to be God. It had to be God that we waited. And so when I caught COVID this last time working in a school system, one of the parents, when I was director of education, one of the parents and a little girl she didn't have a babysitter. She had COVID. She had to go to work or she'd lose her job. And she didn't tell us that she had COVID. So I caught COVID and I had to be off from work. I went to Utica Park Clinic on Harvard. When I went to Utica Park Clinic on Harvard, they sent me to St. Francis South. And St. Francis South in ER there, and I spoke with the doctor there. She said, well, I'm going to take a x-ray of your lungs and what have you. And I said, well, I've got 15 nodules on my lungs. I'm going to let you know. And she looked at me funny and she just walked away. And so she did the x-ray and came back. And so I was still talking about it. She says, Carrie, what are you talking about? Like, are you crazy? And I said, I'm talking about the 15 nodules on my lungs. And she said, Carrie, here's a picture of your lungs. Your lungs are healthy. Nothing's wrong with your lungs. And I said, well, I brought the disc right here so that you could see it. She pulled the disc up and looked at that disc, looked at the lungs on that disc, and my lungs. Guess what? They weren't even my lungs. Whoever this physician assistant was that was connected to Sharon them had went in my records and they had put somebody else's lungs in there. And just think if I had had an operation, had they had went in an operation and I could have died. This stuff has got so serious. And I have both of the discs where you have the lungs with the 15 nodules on it and my lungs are clear. Then they started going to medical records, this individual that was related to them erasing medical records and putting in them what they wanted to put in them. This scenario has got so bad and so out of control. I had not been able to find a lawyer that would take my case, a civil rights lawyer. I'm praying that a lawyer will reach out to me on YouTube or somewhere that can take this. And it has just went on and on and on and on. I do not plan on moving. By no means am I crazy. And you can't make this stuff up. There is no way you can make it up. And so then Eddie and all of them started hacking my phone and my computer, cyber stalking me. And so at that one point, I hired a forensic detective. And I sent my computer, my phone to digital forensics, and they traced it all the way back to the actual individual's IP addresses. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to read off to you part of what the report said. And this is went on. This is went on and on and on and on and on and on. And I'm not afraid of Sharon. Sharon needs to be stopped. All of this needs to be stopped. And I'm trying to figure out how would you get any money and be over me? If there is any money, the state need to take it and be over it, and not you. For the simple fact, this has got to a point where it's totally, totally out of control. I'm trying to get to that page. I've got so much stuff in here that I've documented, and then I have the reports in here too, so I've got it all in a book. So you just have to bear with me a minute, and I will read off to you. Hold on a minute. May not be in this book. I should have had all this up before I got on here. But, God's good. My faith and trust is in the Lord, and I will continue to trust him. And I don't think that anything done in the dark, there's nothing done in the dark that won't come to the light. And I am believing God that some kind of intervention, something happens. They live the life of Raleigh, and I can't even get a job. And here I am. I've got an associate's, a bachelor's. I've got 2 masters and a PhD. And I made national dean's list each year that I was in college, which I'm going to upload the National Dean's List Awards. And it just does not mean, it just doesn't make any difference to me. It's a conflict of interest. It's bias. It's just unreal. I just do not understand how an individual could pull all this stuff off and get away with it and just continue this type of behavior. So here is part of what he said. Let me go through this. He said, I got the forensics report. I got the IP address with him listening to your messages, how he got into my messages. And I can't read all this because it's a lot. It's a lot. There were a lot of files went through. He went through what's called my iCloud. They have complete control over the iCloud. And so having control over the iCloud, they were able to read all of my text messages, look at all my pictures, listen to my phone calls. That's where it was first compromised, in the iCloud. It says we got the IP address with him listening to your messages and monitoring your calls. The data was sent to a remote server. Um, he said, I'm looking at, what is that word right there? I'm looking at, I can't even make out what that is. I don't have on my glasses, guys, you give me. It was some kind of log that he was work log, network logs. I'm sorry, network logs, and that he said that let him know that the phone was what it was communicating with. In other words, what the external part was communicating with. He checked the account activity in iCloud and Google account, and could even see all of their IP addresses. And so this has went on and on and on. And he was saying that I get an attorney and prosecute them under Title 21, Section 1173, stalking computer crimes, Title 21, Section 1953, felony bypassing security to view private data. And this is just went on and on and on. And it's just been a mess for me, and not having anyone to help me with this. They said they told me different ways that I could actually sue them. Electronic voyeurism. They found stalkerware on my stuff. They found unauthorized access, like I said, to iCloud and Google. And they used I guess what they were using was the cloud door, logging in from their computer. And that's how they set up that iCloud, and it's under Dr. Carrie Hall, and I can't get in it. And I called the Motorola that made the company that made my phone, and they could not even get it off of there. And so they said the only way that I could get rid of that is I would have to reset my cell phone to factory settings. So this is what has been going on. They track me on GPS, and getting back to where you see the device that was put on my car, that was put on my car, and I was being a tracking device, and I called a private investigator because I could not understand how these people were stalking me everywhere I went. And so when I bugged him, I bugged this man for a solid 3 months, to the point where he said, Carrie, I'm coming out there. I need to look at something. So he came out, him and his partner, and he looked in my car. And that's when he located the tracking device. He took pictures of it. And we called the police department. They stopped all of this, the police department did. And they said they weren't going to do anything about it. They claimed that the people that I had bought the car from put it on there. That wasn't true. That's not what they do in 2026. They have what's called when you buy a car, they can put a switch on it that cuts your car off if you don't pay payments. And my Fusion has been a really good car for me. And they never put this device on this car, and this car no device was on my car. And I have a letter from them when I bought it. This was something that they did not put on it. I would turn this over to the Tulsa Police Department, like I have turned over a whole bunch of evidence, and every time it gets lost in the property room. And so I quit turning things over to them. And it's just got to a point where this is totally, totally out of control. And these officers shouldn't have immunity. They should be sued. They shouldn't have any type of immunity. And not only that, guys, they had tried to move my Social Security check to North Carolina. They tried to move it to South Carolina. They tried to move it to Florida. And being older, and retired, it's just been crazy. I'm not the average senior. I am one that's up on stuff, and I only got my PhD. It's been almost 3 years ago. And this shouldn't be happening to anybody. I studied hard. I stayed in college 9 years straight to receive my degrees. And I just continued all the way through. I don't think that I'm better than anybody else or any of that. I don't believe in fleecing money, money from people, taking money from them. That's why you see no kind of way to give me money on YouTube. I wanted my channel to be a channel that actually encouraged people, that blessed people in the whole 9 yards. This is happening to a lot of seniors, a lot of people. But most seniors, they don't fight back. They don't know what to do. I immediately 3 years ago got help's nonprofit law firm to help out with some of the credit stuff that was on my credit that I did not do, which they helped me with. And I still pay them on a monthly basis, and Eric is really good with them, and it's just been crazy, guys. That's all I can tell you. It has been totally crazy. And for someone to do this, and these people are younger than me. This is the thing, they're way younger than me. They're in their 50s. And some of them are even younger than that are doing this stuff to me. And it's been an ongoing thing. And they have hit so many people in their bank accounts. And they would hit my bank account. They hit my bank account first 11 times with $1. They kept putting $1 through and $1 through. And they kept putting it through to see if money was there. And then when they knew money was there, immediately they hid it. But fraud department, thank God the fraud department was able to get it right then and there, shut it down. I got a text message, and I'm telling you, it has just been a nightmare. I went to the bank and they said, we're cutting your card and the whole 9 yards. We know it's fraud. And I got emails for people sending them emails from my sisters, my half sister, Sharon Young's daughter, Grace, was hitting my account and using my identification. And I sent all those emails over to internal affairs, and the reason why I sent it to internal affairs, because the detectives on the case weren't doing anything. I was reaching out to them. They weren't doing a thing. And so when he saw that, he knew that I wasn't lying. All of this stuff has been going on. And for it to go on this long, we're talking about from 2006 to 2026, this is just pure evil, just straight up evil. And to do this to me and to tell people that, I'm crazy. We are not doing it. She's doing it I'm not doing anything to you. I don't bother anyone. And so, like I said, I am not the type that's going to sit back silent. And I am sorry that I had to bring this publicly to YouTube, but I want the world to know what has been happening to me here. And hopefully this will get to Washington, D.C. It will be investigated. Sharon shouldn't even have a retirement. She should be sued. He should be sued. They all should be sued, because this has went on too long. And I'm not going to sit back and be afraid of her and see when she was on the police force, what she would do stuff to intimidate me, hoping that I would lash out at her so she'd have a reason to shoot me. Well, I'm not crazy. And I've been dealing with these officers for many, many years. I'm not crazy at all. I had my car sabotaged, $1,886 worth of repairs on my car, telling family members lies, and the whole 9 yards. I'm not afraid of DHS. I work for DHS, so I understand DHS process. And even when it comes to mental health, a person has to meet a certain criteria. You just don't come pick up people and take them off if they don't meet that criteria. And so, like I said, none of that bothers me and none of that scares me. But I'm going to keep it public and make it public when you continuously come against me and think you're above the law, that you can get away with crimes, commit crimes yourself and get away with them, and me not address it, me not say nothing, and you have qualified immunity where you think you're untouchable. And you continue to prosper and buy cars. I'm a smart woman. There is no reason that I should be sitting back and not have a job. And like I said, this goes on and on and on. And when they sit down and narcissists, when they attack a woman, and anybody that's been through narcissist abuse will tell you that the woman is standing there all over the place and emotional and the whole 9 yards, and the narc is standing there all calm, like they just graduated from Harvard. And so the police doesn't believe the woman. Even when I was sexually assaulted and went to the hospital, an officer came in there and told them, do not write it up as a rape. This has went on. This has literally happened to me. This is not something I'm making up. This is not something I'm exaggerating. This happened to me. I've got so much evidence. And then, everywhere I move, they move one of the family members there, or they have a family member that lives there that I don't know about, and that gives them access to me, stealing from me, stealing money from me, stealing, items out of my home, bypassing my alarm. My girlfriend, Mary, that lived in the same apartment complex where I did, when I was having trouble with this man, and he just kept coming in, kicked in my door, broke the door frame, and the whole 9 yards. I had to call a locksmith company here in Tulsa, and they came out to the house. And Alan, the black guy that came out to the house, he told me he could not put a medical lock on my door because I got permission from the manager to put a medical on there. Well, he couldn't put it on the door because of the door being the frame broken. So he told me, he said, Carrie, you've been in this townhouse, and your door is not even locked. You think you're safe and it's locked. The door won't lock. And I got into really like a debate with him, and I said, no, it'll lock. Let me show you it'll lock. He said, Carrie, the door isn't locked. And so I took and I locked the door, and I took and how you push on your knob, and it didn't come open. He said, watch this. He took and lifted the knob up. The door came right open. And I broke down screaming, crying, hysterical. I was hysterical. I was just like, oh my God. And so when Mary seen him come out of my house at 3:00 in the morning, I was sleeping. He had bypassed my alarm system and was in my house. They were shutting down the internet so that my cameras would not pick it up. I'm upstairs asleep. Only God knows what this man was doing to me. This stuff continued. If someone was to go back and look up Cox records for 7031 South Joplin Avenue, apartment 605, townhouse 605, Tulsa 74136. I had Cox at that time. I must have called Cox 1,000 times, and I had cameras all over my house, upstairs, downstairs, and they were supposed to record 24 hours a day. And you can even see me going out the door, just blank stuff. They had control over the cameras, and they were saying this has got to be an officer police, because there is no way that an average person could be doing all of this and not get caught. And so he has his degree is in computer technology, computer programming. And so a code was put into my ADT system when I upgraded to ADT, and ADT couldn't even crack it. And so they told me, I had just paid them $800 for the system. They told me, Carrie, the only way we can do this is you get another one. We can bring you one out. It'll be $800. And I said, there is no way that I'm going to pay you another $800 for a security system. I didn't do this. He said, well, we can't crack it. We called the highest level at ADT and they can't crack it. So this family was down in Polo Run at that time at the bottom of the hill down there. The young lady felt like she could just come in, live in your house. It was like two people were living there. Me, I was going leaving out for work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get back home until 5 o'clock, and I had to pay my tuition in college. So I started working at the Tulsa bus plant, driving a forklift. Never drove a forklift in my life, moving lumber to build buses. So, because I could make, a lot of money because they had a lot of overtime. And so I was gone a lot, and I would check back with my cameras, and I could hear people talking in my apartment, in my townhouse. I could hear them in the kitchen, pots move, them washing pots. It was just a mess. And I'm telling you, I have been through a living hell with this bunch, and no one's held them liable. The Tulsa Police Department has done nothing about this, but sit down and believe Sharon Denise Jones' narrative that somebody's crazy. Nobody's crazy. They can't make this stuff up. I'm going to post a lot of stuff. And like I said, I hate that it came to this. This is not what my channel is about. But when you have people coming against you like this, if you don't speak out and post stuff to show people the truth, they'll think they'll believe whatever they want to. And this individual has done this to me for years. And what I'm saying, it ends now. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm not going to be held a prisoner in my house where I can't come out, where you're going to harass me and talk about picking me up and all of these false narratives and paperwork that you made up, padding police reports and things of that nature, and think that I'm supposed to be afraid of you. I'm not. And I'm just going to continue to post things. And like I said, this has went on for a very long time. And this young lady, she shouldn't even be in the medical field. She shouldn't be over any senior. She is diabolical. She is the type of person that sits back and she does all kind of wicked things to seniors. And it's almost to me like it's like if I was in a court of law and I was before a judge and he was asking me questions, I would say that it's almost like a human trafficking ring. And I'm just going to tell it like it is. That's exactly what Dylan, we're not talking about Sharon, we're talking about this young lady, the one that had ran me down saying that I was her baby's grandmother. She first approached me asking me for $5,000. And I told her, I don't have $5,000 to give you. And she was telling me that her baby was my grandbaby. And I said, no, I don't know you. I don't even know who you are. I don't have no, grandbaby by you. And she just went on and on and on, calling agencies, doing all kind of stuff. And like I said, here's one that's not going to sit back and tolerate it. You can write whatever you want to up. You can call whatever agency you want to call. I could care less. But any agency that's got any kind of common sense don't want to be sued for something that, that they could get really in trouble with. And a lot of even the DHS has workers have immunity. And this has been crazy. I have never seen anything like this. And this woman has made my life a living hell. She was the one that reported all this stuff. This man reported it. And the woman that's over District 1, I'm in District 1 now for Adult Protective Services. You should fire these people, lady, because I'm going to tell you something. I don't qualify for any of this stuff. You're free to come out to my house at any point you want to. Look at my house, take a look at me, and the whole 9 yards. And this don't make no kind of sense to make up stuff like this and it all be lies because you got these people that hate you. and saying that she told me this when you were the one that came in her house. You were the one that did stuff to her. You're the one that's adopting all these kids and stuff like that, taking kids into your home, doing all this wicked stuff that you're doing. And I look at this and I just shake my head. I just can't even believe this stuff. And at one point, she even had her son, he's biracial, involved in this, and he was a minor, and he was running me down. This was years ago. And I just cannot believe all of the events that have actually took place. And like I said, I am speaking publicly. Sharon Denise Jones, you and I were very good friends. You broke that friendship up by accusing me of going with somebody I never went with, which was your husband, James. And I chose not to ever be friends with you again. So my question is, and you have took, you took a protective order out on me. I took many out on you. And the whole 9 yards is, how could you wind up being over some money, you, your daughter, anyone related to you, and with all the history that we have, and all of the police reports I filed on you, all of the police reports I filed on Eddie Jameson, all the police reports that I filed on all of these individuals that have stalked and harassed me. Even when I came out in my car, I never will forget, I was going to a protective hearing and I was coming up the Broken Arrow Expressway going west. And I was pulled over for no reason at all. And there she was. And the officers that pulled me over, it was a rookie officer. He had a gun up in my head and he was red as a beet, out of control, shaking, and I hadn't done one thing, wasn't even speeding, and got a ticket. And before I went to protective order hearing that morning, I went ahead and paid it down at the city of Tulsa. And this, like I said, has went on and on and on and on. Uh, this is crazy. And like I said, I'm not going off, Rosalind, I'm not going off of YouTube at all. I'm going to be on YouTube. That's no doubt about it. Uh, uh, you know, uh, this has just got to a point where it is just totally, totally, totally out of control. And like I said, when you get into things like where you don't like somebody and this